Hello and welcome to another episode with Global Sassitude. So here I've got my beautiful ladies with me today. So let me just introduce myself first. My name is Shirley and I'm a beauty business coach.
Hello, everyone. This is Pauline. I'm a financial wellness mentor.
And I'm Lisa from Sydney, Australia, and I help women recreate and rise and roar beyond divorce or loss.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm excited for today's topic. We will be speaking about family. But before we actually delve in, I want to remind all of our viewers that all of us are some sort of expert when it comes to the businesses that we are currently leading. And you are so welcome to contact us anytime that you want to reach out to us, whatever topic we are discussing. You are so welcome to contact us. But let's delve in and let's talk about family, something that's so close to my heart. Every topic that I speak to is always close to my heart, but I love it. I'm very passionate. I'm a very passionate person, and I'm very passionate when it comes to things that I really, really like my family. Just this morning, I woke up, and because it's so cold in New Zealand, normally in the school holidays, both my boys would bring the mattress, put it next to my bed, and then they will sleep there. And somehow, some way, that fulfills me. I love the way it makes me feel, having them so close to me and knowing they're by my side. Even though I know the country that we live in is beautifully safe, nothing is going to happen to them in the next room, but having them next to me just fills my heart and it makes me feel complete. So I sent my husband a message this morning and I said, you know what? When I look at my two boys, I feel like the queen. I just feel so fulfilled and so blessed. And I just thanked him again this morning for giving me these beautiful two boys. And he said, oh, but I couldn't have done it without you. And I said, yes, of course. So the thing is, we need to appreciate our family. And the sad part, when we moved to New Zealand, we've got these groups. There's a whole lot of groups that we've got for SAFAs. So we call that South African SAFAs in New Zealand. And every other day, someone on that group is saying they are getting a divorce. They are splitting. They're no longer going to be married. This is something real that we have to deal with every day. And you might be dealing with that. We have dealt with that. If you've listened to some of our episodes already, we've spoken about what we've gone through in our relationships in the past. The main thing is, sometimes I think people they neglect to actually speak to one another and to really go into topics and to speak about situations and to speak about topics that is uncomfortable. And the brilliant part is having those uncomfortable situations and uncomfortable conversations sometimes actually leads to breakthroughs. I mean, isn't it? And I would like to hear from the ladies here with me today. Don't you feel the same? Because whenever I have gone through a terrible situation, whether it was financial or in my business or in my personal situation with my family or with my husband, if we had that uncomfortable conversation, something beautifully normally was born from it. Have you ever experienced something like this, Pauline?
Of course. Thanks, Shirley. Hi, this is Pauline. And I really agree with Shirley. It is not easy. Yeah. But there are times we need to have uncomfortable conversations. In fact, now with I used to have an ex-husband and then divorced, and now I have a new partner. And now with this partner, I must say, we do a lot of difficult conversations. Yeah. Probably because, first of all, both of us, we had failed marriages before. So we want to be better. We learn from it. Yeah. So, and just for me, for my previous marriage, I don't really engage very well in difficult conversations. Probably because I'm young. Yeah. And I do not know how to facilitate such conversations. The other thing is my ex-partner is not ready. He's not ready to be engaged in difficult conversations. And he wasn't trained to do that. So it was really difficult for us to have some difficult conversations. Now, when the moment in the past when I had that difficult conversations, what he was set to do is either two scenarios. Either he will get so angry with it, it's like a personal attack comes in. Yeah. If not, he will say, okay. And when it comes to personal attack, I stop being engaged in the conversation because, when emotions are high, logic runs low. So a lot of not so nice words would actually come out, which the other person didn't mean to say. So it does feel hurtful. So this is one thing. So it is really not easy, I must say, to really be engaged in such conversations. But I must say, really, from that scenario, our situation, I know how to pick another partner who is ready and who's mature enough to be engaged in any uncomfortable situations or difficult conversations. And this is where this time round with the current partner that I have, we are able to do that and do it beautifully. So we know how to get it, we know how to do it. And this is where I must say it really depends on the other party. The other party must really be also prepared to be engaged in such conversations. And in family, I must say this is really important. As much as most of the time, I must say 80-90% of the time, we need to really say that we have to focus on the positive things that which we do, that is like our loving each other, having these smiles like every morning, having that hug. It's really beautiful, right? We need to focus on that. Yeah, this is what I just had a conversation with my current partner, and he's just saying, don't focus on that 10-20% when we were not happy with each other, right? Because there are situations that we weren't like that happy with each other, but focus back onto the 80% or 90% when we really are in the positive phase of with each other, like the hugs, the kiss, the love, the daily activities that we have. That's really positive. And I think in families, this is what we should be focusing on. And that's not just with our partners, but also with any of our family members. We always tend to forget the beautiful times that we have together, right? And that is supposed to be 80-90% of the time, right? So when we are in such a negative situation, go back and say, and remember the days where we are really happy, and that would actually help in healing any of the unhappy situations or discomfort that we have. Yeah, that's my take.
Oh wow, that's amazing. And it is, it's getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. Me and my partner, we actually went through a really bad situation last year. I didn't know if we were going to survive it or not. I always, not last year, the year before that, I'm so sorry, it was about 2 years ago. Like we really went through a very bad patch, but it's because we didn't communicate. We didn't speak to each other. And he was just doing his thing, I was doing my thing, and we were just taking the relationship for granted. And when I really, started speaking to him, and I said to him, you process everything in your mind. Like you are so much in your head. You have to speak to me. I don't know how to deal with no one. It's like standing in front of a wall and talking to a wall. It's not nice. The wall doesn't answer. There's no feeling or emotion. And that was basically my husband. He just had no emotion. So I can't change him. Still to this day, he doesn't really show a lot of emotion. But the one thing that I did ask him, and I was like, at that time, I didn't ask him, I shouted it. I said, why don't you talk? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why don't you talk? And he said, because I'm afraid of this reaction. Like, if I ever say something, you shout or you immediately get so upset. And he doesn't like conflict. He hates conflict. I had to change a little bit. So I said to him that I will bring 100% and I will change and I will be more mindful and be more considerate of how I speak to you and how I react. But I need you to really show up for me. I need you to really also, speak to me. So yeah, he's learned, and it's been so much better. But I think the easy way sometimes is just giving up, giving up and not talking anymore. I didn't have a relationship. Well, I have a relationship with both my boys, and the one is 10, the other one is 8 years old. They're still very small, but I get on better with the one. I understand him better. I know exactly when he does something. I understand when he does it. And then my husband would be like, what the hell is this child doing? And I'm like, don't you worry. Like, I understand why he's doing it. But then my older son is a lot like my husband. I've got no idea. When he does things, I'm like, what the hell is this child doing? And my husband's like, don't you worry, he'll be fine. But I wanted to understand. I wanted to understand my son, and I wanted to really have a relationship with him. I could have left it and I could have said, you know what, I know it's fine. Let's just see how it goes. And maybe someday when he's older. No, a relationship needs to be worked on very early on. And then let's say the relationship is broken and there is maybe no relationship. It can still be amended because you need to put in that effort. And I always say it's not 50-50. You can't give 50-50. It's not enough. You need to show up 100% for that person. So family to me is very important. I grew up in a very close family. My mom and my dad, they had their own type of love, which weren't great, but it was there. And they provided us with some love. Like I said in one of my other sessions, my mom's maternal instinct never really kicked in. So she wasn't a natural mum or loved us like a mum should love their children. And for the longest time, it hurt me, but I'm fine now with that. Lisa, how would you say, how is growing up with your parents and how has it affected the way you today handle your kids? Or maybe when you were still married with your partner, how did you two raise your kids together?
Okay, so me growing up with my mum and dad. Dad was a train driver. Mum, a bit like Shirley's mum, not the most maternal mum, but I do have the luxury of two siblings, an older and a younger sister. So I guess we came together for love. And we also found my grandma had the biggest heart, so she taught us all about love. Uncomfortable conversations as a child, they didn't exist within the family unit, but I do think, my parents are just about in their 80s, and that is definitely a generational kind of thing where you don't have these uncomfortable conversations. Now, my ex and I, both Capricorns, we met in the Army Reserve. So bringing up our children, very regimented type of upbringing our children had in a nice way, but it was like, okay, yes, you can watch TV in the morning before school, but they will be dressed, they will have their breakfast, clean teeth, and you watch TV. But as long as you've got all your jobs done. We always sat at the dinner table with my ex. He would be the head of the table, and then I always sat next to him, and the children sat in the same spot. And it wasn't to make it was so they knew there was law and order in the household. And it wasn't so it was like controlling them or anything. It was just that, oh yeah, law and order exists in this household. We sit down, we eat dinner. As for my ex and I, for those that have listened to previous podcasts or follow me on Instagram, you would know that my marriage did break down 5.5 years ago. We never had the difficult conversations. Similar to Shirley, he was just not a man to speak. So our marriage kind of just ended suddenly without any communication or follow-up. And I guess that's just the way that it is. At the time, I didn't have any energy or strength to actually have difficult conversations with my children. And they were adult children and they probably needed their mother, but I couldn't deal with myself. But my Auntie Bev, say nothing, Lisa, it's okay, because one day they'll learn to understand and they'll open up to you about how they felt. So I have discussed with my children about how they felt through the divorce, and it was difficult. And I guess the lesson I learned, and as you would probably know, when you speak, you've got two trains of thoughts. You'll speak aloud, and then you've got your thoughts in your mind. So sometimes you answer the question as you're asking someone a question. And it's the same with difficult conversations. Sometimes you've got it running around in your head, but if you actually take the time to speak to someone and you say it aloud, what's in your head will come out differently, and you might have a different answer, or it might not be so bad. Or as it comes out, you get clarity on how to fix it. But if I go back to Shirley with her boys, I always said with my children, I won the lottery. So never ask me to put a lottery ticket on, because I already won the lottery with my children. They've got partners now. I've got just about the Brady Bunch, and by Christmas, I'll have 3 granddaughters. So I've won the lottery, and yeah, that's my family. Lucky me. I understand how fortunate I am to have my family. Whilst the divorce may have happened 5.5 years ago, my ex and I, we still maintain we have developed and maintained a very good friendship to make sure that our family still exists. Whilst altered, it's still there.
Oh, that is amazing, because I know sometimes that is one of the things that I feel a bit grateful for not having children with my ex-husband. Because first of all, would not want to have his kids. But second of all, I don't know how people always does that. I really do, I think people are so brave to co-parent, especially when the children are still smaller. I think it's, having to speak to them often, or because I think they will be in your life always, especially if kids are there, they will always be in your life. So getting that, like you said, Lisa, just getting that level where you could respect one another and, have a beautiful friendship so that you can carry on with the relationship. Yeah, I think that is wonderful. But I think family is, my gosh, we can make or break our families. And I think if we could really sometimes just take a step back take a step back and see what other people see. Because sometimes when you're so close to and involved with your family,
Yeah.
you don't always see how beautiful it is and how lovely it is, and how perfect, picture perfect it actually is. Because me too, I feel so blessed when I look at my husband and at my kids. I feel so full, like my heart is full of gratitude. So I want to invite anyone that is currently in a situation, and it might not be an ideal situation that you find in yourself. Our partner is not speaking. I mean, you've heard it from all three of us. Sometimes our partners don't want to speak. Sometimes we don't want to speak. We haven't been taught to speak. What is something that you can implement and learn to your kids? What is something that you could do differently that you weren't taught? What are some cycles that you can break that is currently happening in your family? It doesn't really have to just be a marriage. I mean, it could be just family. I know that we could have a better relationship with one another in our family also. But we sometimes avoid it because we don't want to have that difficult conversation. We avoid it, because we don't want to deal with that. But sometimes that is what it takes, to bring a family together, to break old cycles and old habits, and for generations to go on building new ways of communicating with one another and loving each other. And I always say, when personally, if it's not going well with you personally, it will not always go well with you in your professional capacity also.
You know what,
Yeah.
Shirley, I have a take on that in terms of facilitating, like as I mentioned, a difficult conversation. Now, first thing first is because it's not easy. I always believe that we need to have the skill sets to do it. We cannot assume that, like for example, I realize this is quite a typical thing of probably a man more than a woman of not speaking up because they do not know how to speak up. It's not that they do not want to speak up, but a lot of ladies get offended because thinking that they do not want to speak. You don't want to tell me how you feel. You just keep quiet. You just avoid me. You went into avoidance thinking that everything will be okay. But the
Yeah.
key thing is this because the man is not scared and they are afraid that they said the wrong thing, it will hurt the woman. And the woman didn't know that she also isn't scared enough, all right, to talk to the man and will get offended because you do not want to speak. And when you speak, you hurt me, my feelings. So, and the woman is probably also not good in facilitating that kind of conversation to make the man feel comfortable in opening up that we are in a safe space to go through such difficult conversations, right? So that's why I think first thing first is both parties need to acknowledge that if both parties are not skilled in having such conversations, then just acknowledge it that we are not skilled. Let's go to an expert. There are many experts out there, like, Shirley, me, and Lisa. We are all right now in some form of a mentoring and coaching. Why is that so? Because we have our own experiences. That's why when I'm in a financial wellness mentoring, but you know what? I mentored quite a number of ladies, especially ladies love to come to me when it comes to like financial wellness. And it is, but after mentoring them, I realized when I mentor them, it's not just about their financials. It's a lot about their relationship with money. So it's also the same. I also do quite a number of wellness thing, not just financial. And the wellness is in terms of physical health as well, that I help people in managing their health, be it in obesity, in high blood pressure. I share with them, mentor them how to eat the right kind of food with the right nutrition and also with the right physical activities. So this is where I realize a lot of things when we talk about like being like putting on weight or not doing well in our financials or even in businesses or in relationship, it has all got to do with our emotions. And that emotions would actually come from a lot of the conversation with ourselves, inner conversation with ourselves, and also having to facilitate that conversation with our partners, be it business partner, be it life partners, or be it friends. So this is where if you can't find the experts, like Lisa, me, and Shirley, we are experts in different areas that we are in, which is why we are now providing the mentoring and coaching. So we are able to facilitate such conversations. We are able to help you to facilitate such conversations. That's the reason right now we are here. Yeah, so if you want to find out more, go to our links, talk to us. We do offer like free consultation. Like for me, I have a free 45 minutes consultation where you can come to me in terms of mentoring. It need not be just financial, it could be wellness, right? Like I believe Lisa also have something to offer in terms of relationship because she's helping women in terms of going through divorce, right? And managing your own emotions. So that's where get the experts to help. And that's how in future, once we have the kind of skill set, we can facilitate the conversation as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. Amazing. And that's true. And
Yes.
thank you so much, Pauline,
Thank you.
for telling our viewers and for our listeners. And that is true because we've been through our own journey. And that is why we are in a position today to give advice and to teach. And I always say to people also that if you learn the skill, it's something that can never be taken away from you. So even if you learn something and it wasn't for you, there's something that you learn. There's something that you can take away from it. But if you find yourself not coping, not being able to, talk or communicate or, you know, be in your family and be happy or feel grateful because there's something is missing, then reach out because we will definitely be able to. Between the three of us, there is something that we can help
There
you
is.
with.
Got you covered in all
We've
areas.
got you covered. Absolutely. Thank you so much for listening to our session today. And we hope that you've learned something from this session, that you could take something away from this session. And just remember that we are here, each in our own individual category. I help people to earn extra money in the beauty industry. We coach people in the beauty industry how to communicate and how to do communication better so that their business can be thriving. Pauline in the financial and wellness sector, and Lisa, life after divorce. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for liking our content, and thank you so much for all of those who sending things in that they want us to speak about. We get your messages and we see you. Thank you so much. Until our next episode. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Remember
Bye.
to like, share, and subscribe our channel.
Yes.